Others people money and I can.
What is
You don't know Dom.
Come
you
on.
don't know
What are
it.
you talking about?
Shorty.
That's OPM.
I didn't know it was a song.
Oh, yeah. It's a whole song. Shout out to Jaron because he knows Dom Kennedy.
Oh.
That's kickback music right there.
It's the ultimate kickback music. Watermelon Sunday.
Huh?
You don't know what none of this shit means.
It's good.
I don't know any of this
Shout
music.
out to the people who know who Dom Kennedy is and know that they my Watermelon Sunday.
Do you listen to the radio when you're driving in the morning?
Never. No.
I listen to the radio.
What stations?
I listen to all local radio stations in the morning.
Really?
I listen to 106.1, 102.9.
Okay.
Yeah. Kimmy T in the morning.
I don't know anything about that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like the commercials.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me feel old. You know, because
Really?
when I was a child, my mother would listen to like Tom Joyner. And so if I find myself listening to Tom Joyner now, I feel like I'm my mother's age. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I don't know who Tom Joyner is, so maybe you're dating yourself already.
All of Middle America knows who Tom Joyner is.
What demographic of music is that?
This is like black oldies.
Oh, is it a black person?
Yeah, this is a black guy.
Tom Joyner?
Tom Joyner is the most popular radio personality in Black America. I swear, I'm not
In
kidding.
Central and Middle America.
Yeah, like around the way America knows who Tom Joyner is. I promise.
Is that what we're calling Middle America now? Around the way?
Around the
I don't think you're trying to make
Yeah, because
it.
there might be people in New Jersey that also know who Tom Joyner is. But trust me, Middle America really knows him. I mean, they go to his cruise every year. He does a cruise from like
Is Detroit-
Biloxi, Mississippi to Miami.
Is Detroit Middle America?
Oh yeah.
Michigan?
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
That's Middle America.
Oh, that's where I haven't gone. I need to go.
Let's talk about Detroit real quick because I'm trying to get to Detroit.
Are you really?
I want to go. I have this real fascination with Detroit. And just like, it's one of them so underwritten right now. It's probably another Oakland that was really going to be written off for many years. And in about 10 years, everybody's about to be in Detroit. And so I'm trying to get there before then.
It's already bubbling. It's already really good energy there. And I love Oakland because it feels like my hometown. So, you know, you'd love it because you find a lot of similarities. And you'd also find like a $500 one-bedroom apartment. So like that helps too.
But it's cold.
Fair.
I had a friend who went to the University of Michigan. Actually, they weren't my friend. I knew somebody who went to the University of Michigan, and they were describing to me that they had to walk to class in underground tunnels because it was so cold. That they weren't walking outside, but they still had to go to class. And I was like, at what point do you just say, what is this degree for?
Totally. Just Skype me into class, you know? Let's just FaceTime in the class.
Give me a recording.
Like, what are we talking about?
No, totally. I mean, that's why I got out of there.
Exactly.
I don't.
I can't imagine you like bundled up.
Okay. I spent 18 years of my life bundled up. Bubble jackets, you know, like real big bubble jackets. I would say they were North Face, but we couldn't quite afford North Face, so it was something like it.
South Face.
I would say it was Polo, but it was probably like Polo Association.
Right.
Like,
Something knockoff.
something knockoff for sure. Burlington Coat Factory, shout out.
It's key.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
Started at Burlington Coat Factory, and
I'm
now
still at Burlington Coat Factory.
Who is this man? Tell us who you are. Tell us who you are, damn it.
I was going to say, started from the bottom, now is opening a whole ass couplet of hotels.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I love how humble you are, because I always tell you you're a big deal, and you're always like, come on, I'm just out here just doing what I love to do.
Yeah, I just don't want it to crash and burn, you know? I don't want to jinx it. I get a little worried sometimes about jinxing and putting it out there before, putting the cart before the horse.
Sure.
So I kind of want to just be solid, like installed, base, done, and then like look up and go like, okay, yeah, we really did that. Or walk around like, yeah, I am a hotelier. It really happened. Mm-hmm. But while we're building it out, I'm just kind of like, yeah, we hope to be hoteliers. We hope to get these things open. We,
mm-hmm.
and we will. I've got faith, but well, I don't know. I just in an effort to keep my mind right, just try to walk pretty meekly about it.
I So July 1st, the first property is opening.
Yeah, July 1st, New Orleans, the Moor. That's Moor. We pay homage to Moorish people, Moorish culture, the first people to walk the earth. Mm-hmm. Beautiful property. I was just there a couple of days ago. I'll be back tomorrow, and we're, the next 3 weeks kind of sprinting to get that thing open. We're doing a labor ourselves for this one because we want that weekend, which is Essence Festival weekend in New Orleans, to be a big weekend for us. So
that's so exciting.
Yeah, pause.
Yeah.
I know y'all have talked before today, but I haven't really been on the conversation. So you dropping weeds out here. You talking about hotels out here, hoteliers out here. And I had for the people who are just tuning in and just getting to know you, first of all, tell them your name. And then tell them what you're working on and what's this we all about. Who?
Okay, Jena, Dominique. So I'm Marcus Carey, co-founder of Homage Hospitality Group. We open hotels that pay homage to Black culture globally because we think that intersection makes a ton of sense, a place for you to stay, be inspired, be motivated. And we think the most motivational tools out there are Black culture. We see it in the music and the fashion and sort of sports and entertainment. And we think there's a role for it in the place that you travel to, lay your head, go get a cup of coffee, stuff like that. So we're excited about getting these things open in roughly a month, and a couple cities are in the pipeline, and we'll kind of take it from there.
So you're opening a series of hotels around the world. I remember when I was reading an article about you and about Homage, and I was just like, wow, this is so cool. And I think the thing that was cool about it is that this is a very niche thing. Working in hotels and hospitality and enjoying it, right? Most people think customer service and they think retail, but you're talking about hospitality and hosting people and really creating an experience for people. When was that seed first planted?
Yeah, it's a great question. For me, that kind of seed gets planted at call it 10, 11 years old. I grew up on the west side of Detroit, Michigan, and relatively humble beginnings. My parents worked incredibly hard. My mother worked for United Airlines, so she worked as a customer service representative herself. And my stepfather, who's been in my life since I was roughly 2 years old, so it is effectively my father. He worked in a plant sort of mixing chemicals for paint. And so those sort of humble beginnings are the background. And as you can imagine, if you take a family trip and walk into a Hyatt Regency or something, it's like whoa, what is this kind of thing? And so real estate, physical buildings, walking into those and being inspired by spaces, that's a 10-year-old, 11-year-old kind of thing for me. And then deciding from there, okay, this is cool. I want to open up one of these one day. And it's been a straight line from there. It's been a crazy line from there till today. But then when you look at it in totality, you go, I guess it makes sense. I guess those winding roads and changes in the direction ultimately have been a part of somebody else's bigger plan for myself that have led me here. So, Jena, I would assume you got a similar background to myself, pretty humble beginnings. And what was it like for you when you were 10 years old, walking into spaces that were just beautiful? I mean, how did that feel as a kid?
When you said that, my mind immediately went to walking into a beautiful lobby of a hotel, right? Like beautiful tile grounds, or even how you would see the cartmen, the ones who would take your luggage up at the elevator for you and take it into your room. I just immediately thought of that entire experience that's been so romanticized, even like Disneyland resorts and those kind of things. With starting Street Salad, starting my postcard company, I now reflect back on it and realize that even furniture in my home had postage stamps on it, right? Wow. Like even after my birthday, I was always writing thank you notes to people. So this thread of writing notes and sending physical things has always been pulled through my life. Mm-hmm. And so I can totally level with you when you said, it started when you were 10. It started when you were going on vacation.
Totally.
What does that look like now, translating that into a business, right? So it may have been something you were experiencing before, and now you're creating experiences for other people. Yeah. How did you make that transition?
Sort of still making it, right? Still in the process of sort of making that transition. One of the sort of biggest factors along that journey has been my co-founder, Damon Lawrence. Here's a guy who spent 10 years working in hospitality for all the biggest brands in multiple markets across the country, DC and LA, helped open boutique hotels, worked for big, large flags and brands. And so he knows the sort of ABCs of translating our favorite experiences into a business. And so partnering with him and getting sort of walk through how these things work from behind the scenes is sort of, that puts us in the right position to get it done ourselves. It's not, without his 10 years in the space, it wouldn't even come together.
Sure.
Myself, I'm a finance background, some capital stuff. So I've got a business and finance background that helps to capitalize these things. But it's Damon's creative background and hospitality management background that put the ones and twos together to get it done.
So one thing I'm particularly interested in is the notion of co-founding something. So I know what it's like to start something by yourself.
Yeah.
And I also know the struggles of adding someone else to something that you've kind of already started to work on. It's different when you found it together, right? So we've been in It's a Look together since the beginning. But like with Street Salad, it's like, okay, it's been me for a year, right? And so going to another person, like, what was that process like of adding someone?
Yeah. I mean, Damon can answer it better than me because he started this effort before
Sure.
me, right? But it's gotta just start with energy. It's gotta be about energy before it's about like the mathematics, the ones and the twos. It's gotta be about just energetically, are you connecting with the person, spirit to spirit? And so for him, I think he found assistance in from a confidence perspective. I think walking in the rooms next to me has provided him. I'm a little bit of a pit bull, and when it comes to this kind of stuff, so I think it's provided the kind of help that we needed. It's kind of weird to call myself a pit bull,
Yeah,
but
I saw that. I was like, "Oh, is he walking in the boardroom? Just like, give me them motherfucking dollars, motherfucker." I'm like, "Who is this man?"
Hey, look, it's real.
Dollars.
Yeah, so from an energy perspective, that I think a little boost of confidence, although he's got a ton of it, has been helpful for him, and then for myself, all kinds of self-limiting beliefs, self-doubt, and just sort of questioning whether or not, like, are we allowed to do this?
Yeah.
Damon comes from a family entrepreneur, so energetically he helps me with just a fundamental belief that we are right where we're supposed to be, and anything that sort of goes wrong along the path is just a part of the journey. So energetically it's huge for the both of us, and when I'm feeling low, he's bringing me back up. When he's feeling low, I'm bringing him back up. So if anybody out there is thinking about bringing somebody into something, co-founding something with somebody, energy is the first question. Energy has got to be, just energy and spirit has got to be the first question, I think. You two know a lot about that. I mean,
We were just talking about that today. We were acknowledging our incredible team. So everyone they can't be seen currently, right? We have 2 sound engineers, a video editor, a video producer, cinematographer, and all of them were brought on the team organically because we were like, hey, this is the idea. This is where we're looking to gain. Are you even interested in these kinds of things? Are you interested in women of color hosting space and having authentic conversations? Are you interested in, candid dialogue? Are you interested in like working with people of color and women? And they're all just like, yeah. And then all the logistical details and all of those things ended up working out because the theme of who we are and the theme of the show works with their core personality.
Absolutely.
And you just can't write that on a job description either. You can't write that down.
No, you can't.
You have to have like a one-on-one. Everyone on the team now, like we sat down, took them to dinner, took them to coffee, and was like, okay, who are you?
Yeah.
And they're like, this. We're like, okay, that works. it's something you can't even. I think
like watching a sound engineer shake their head like, yeah, absolutely.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing you can do. So I think my question is with the co-founding and your different roles, you being the pit bull, as you said. You talked about Damon saying that you're allowed to be there. And so we've talked a bit about the 1% and just you being a hotelier and moving in this space where not a lot of Black people are, like opening properties and doing these incredible things. So why do you think that you thought that you weren't supposed to be here, or that you shouldn't be opening hotels when, terrible kinds of people open hotels?
Really bad
people are doing all kinds of shit, and you're moving so positively. So where do you think that comes from, and how do you and Damon fight that off, kind of self-doubt?
I think it's fundamentally about whether or not you see someone that looks like you doing it growing up. I think it's fundamentally about that, because if it starts with like the postage stamps on furniture or on luggage, or if it starts with walking in the lobby at a Hyatt Regency, then the next thing is going to be, okay, well, how do these things get here in the first place? Like, what's this about? And when I found out how those things get there in the first place, 10 times out of 10, it was a white guy. 10 times out of 10, it's a white guy that got it there, and a lot of money. And so this was fundamentally a part of or a solution to a sort of representation problem. It's like, man, we don't see Black ownership in this space. And hotels are incredibly important to our cities.
They're so important.
I mean, what's your favorite hangout spot? A lot of people like to go sit in their favorite lobby in the city. Like, this is a real thing. It's not just for the travelers. It's
true.
So these incredibly important spaces, but I didn't see very many Black folks running it. I didn't see very many Black people running it. So that's a part of why you ask yourself, like, whether or not you can do it, whether or not it's for you. And we're going to change that. And hopefully some kids growing up, like, I want to open this kind of hotel. I want to, take it from there.
I think I want to know who is doing it in the space. Who's in the hotel space? Who's dominating the space right now?
We love Ace Hotel. If you've been to Ace Hotel, right?
Yes.
I think you went to the downtown LA property.
Yes.
For a conference or something last year. We think Ace is crushing it. We think Ace has packaged up, hipster culture, grunge, rock and roll culture. Frankly, 90s Seattle. Their first property was in Seattle. No matter what property you go to, you probably feel a little bit of late 90s Seattle inside of that property. And so they packaged that up. So that's fundamentally, that's kind of where the idea is validated. Like, oh, okay, you can hipster punk. People like that. People want to stay at that.
The Ace Hotel in London was like my answer to traveling in London. It's like, there's a nightclub here. It's like, this is all the music I want to listen to. These are all the people I want to be around. How? What hotel is this cool?
Yeah. And what culture is cooler than Black culture?
I can't think of one.
So a lot of, look, on this journey, right, you pitching an idea, you talking to people about it. People are always like, well, what does that mean? What Black culture? What, how's it gonna be like, Black Panthers on the wall? Or, they ask a lot of, sometimes condescending questions about it. But what's cooler than Black culture? And so when you got to tie that thread for folks and say, hey, you ever walked to an Ace Hotel? Did you feel like it was punk? Did you feel like it was rock and roll? Okay, well, what would it feel like if it was Black? What would it feel like if it was neo soul and hip hop and candles and music and afros and tattoos and dynamic, sophisticated? When we think about our employees, for example, we don't think that staff members at our properties in the future will, like, you'll have a bellman, like, a person that only takes your bags to the room and then that's it. We think that person that takes your bags to the room is also capable of answering your questions about what restaurant like to go to for dinner. Because we think Black culture is dynamic. It is multifunctional. People just kind of are capable of many things. And so if we hire for that, we'll find that, and then our guests will know that that everybody, talk to everybody. It's a family environment. We, people ask us, all right, what's your best example of Black culture and hospitality? What's the most indicative of Black culture and hospitality? We say the best hospitality experience out there is the family cookout. It's like the holiday dinner around the family. It feels really good. There's a lot of laughter. Like, a lot of people don't think about that as a hospitality experience. We think it is. How do we package that up for, in a hotel lobby? So that's,
And my question is further, like, how are you packaging that up? And I want to know, I guess, in the literal, right? So is it something about the bed? Is the bed special? Is the decor special? The wallpaper special? What is making this experience at the Moor unique?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, all of the art is super important, right? You walk in, you'll feel Black culture just by looking on the walls. Again, you'll feel it when you look at staff, especially at our larger property.
Is the Moor the largest property?
No, the Moor is our sort of beta test with this. It's like a 6-room in New Orleans,
okay.
And then a 10-room in New Orleans will open 2 months after that, and then a 102-room in Oakland will open next year.
Mm-hmm.
But we want comfort to be sort of naturally a part of it. I think sort of the sort of best comfort items that you can imagine in a hotel will have them, and it would be quality material. We'll really be thoughtful about that stuff. But you ever had music welcoming you to your room? Like, your first time walking into your room is quiet every time. What would it look like if music welcomed you? You need to wake up at 5 a.m. for a flight. You could call downstairs to the front desk for a wake up call, or music could wake you up for your flight. We've talked to creatives that say, could my room have a photo backdrop in it? What if I'm in a city and I want to do headshots or want to do photo shoots for people? Can I just pull down a backdrop? We're just incredibly thoughtful about what Black creative nomads need in the space, and we want to package that up, and we think everybody needs it. If Black creative nomads need it, we think everybody needs it. So yeah, there's all kinds of examples along the way there. The books that we think are important for people, we want that on a nightstand just in case you want something to read. The video content that we think is important or helpful or good stuff to learn from, we want that loaded into the television already. Like, we just want to completely rethink the way to do it. And yeah.
I think what's really interesting and unique about where we are, especially being in Oakland, and like us just not owning things, not owning space, but wanting to, is that we are innovating and we're rethinking ways to create the spaces, create the tools that we need, and then also making them more accessible to people who look like us. And so I think, what you're doing with this space, with this, it's like I would want to stay. I want to stay.
I'm already in the hotel lobby with them, a glass of red
I
Merlot.
need a place to hang out in Oakland. I want to be at this hotel.
Oakland really needs it. Oakland.
It needs it so bad.
We were talking about it before. It's like, where do you just go and chill and to engage and meet new people and do those things? It's like, I don't always want to go to a bar,
Yeah.
I'd rather just be somewhere that's safe and social and like chill.
Yeah, totally. It's such the time for it. You think about the past couple of months, all the stuff that sort of caught headlines. Like, don't think like a Black owned hotel, Black inspired hotel isn't directly linked to like the Starbucks issue and like a couple Black guys getting kicked out of Starbucks just for kind of sitting there.
I'm just like,
linked.
let them push us, push me away,
totally,
push me far away. Push me so I can go support my friends, please.
But I mean, that's the thing is with these properties as well. Everyone, there's so many apps being created right now specifically for Black people to find Black people in a city. So many different kinds. Like, you want to find them based off like what interest points you have or where you want to go for the day. Blah 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 blah. In Oakland, it's like just go to the hotel. You'll literally find them. They're all there. There's there's things there that that's where we'll all be. So
we get a little scared about the idea that in a city like Oakland, sort of capital gentrification, what if we build this thing, but like the only folks left in Oakland are white folks, and like that's who's in our property or on the rooftop or something like that would suck,
But I
right?
think it's also really special to the people who are coming in. So I just came off of a trip. I flew into London and went to Amsterdam, Barcelona, and I'm like, wow, I just wish that I had an easier entry point to the people I actually want to see and find.
Wow.
I just wish I could find them easier.
Wow.
And I think that's something we all want during this experience, is to have that access point especially when it's your first time and you don't know where to start and you don't have friends that you can lean into. You need a space to lean into where you can find them.
Facts. I've never even thought about it like that. I've never thought about the business like that, but that's facts. You need a place to walk into and know the people in this lobby you should probably introduce yourself to.
These are
like,
people
probably,
you want to be friends with, that you
Yeah.
want to hang out with. And so I think that's what I'm most looking forward to when it comes to the launch of the Moor and then just the other properties you guys have coming. I saw your personal items that you brought in. And so I want to get into a little bit more about you and switch to the things that you brought for your starter kit. So what items did you bring with you today?
All right, so I brought a couple of things. This is I'm like a millennial that doesn't really have keepsakes at home. Like, I got roommates and it's just like a bedroom. There's no memory box in there.
Okay.
So I took the things off on my wall and brought them as keepsakes. But this one's important to me. A couple of messages on this that hang right next to my bed and remind me how to think about life. And I would just say that this one is the most important on the page. It says you are a co-creator of your life. I started therapy a little over a year ago. My therapist, Chanel Armilli, introduced me to the concept that, like, in partnership with God, I'm a co-creator and I can manifest all things, and just sort of a calm approach to things that'll come together. But true belief in self. Figuring out what trauma you deal with from like when you were 2 years old and sort of unpacking that, stripping it out. All of that has been a part of this journey. So these are the kind of things that she helped me put together, put on my wall, remind myself of daily, or probably weekly. I don't look at this every day, but probably weekly. The 4 quadrants of my life, career, spirit, my physical, and my relationships. The 3 places that I want you to find me in the next couple of years. I want you to find me at home. I want you to find me in the office. I want you to find me in the gym. I don't want you to find me anywhere else. Fredia, I was in a club last night. That's not on this list.
Club is not on the list.
But
Didn't make the cut.
Okay.
And 25 hours, 8 days sort of symbolizes how hard I want to work on this homage thing. Like 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. I really want to put my all into it and see what comes out of it.
Have you put your all into it? Are you working full time and doing this, or where are you at with your?
Yeah, I'm full time. This is a full time effort. It's been 2 years. It's been a crazy kind of 2 years. It's been complete with, as you know, like some like Uber driving, trying to figure it out. But yeah, this is a full time effort. We raised some capital and been able to pay ourselves and get these things open. So.
But reaching back to the therapist that you shouted out, I know a lot of friends who are interested in therapy and are having a difficult time finding a therapist. Did you find one on the first match? How did you find them? And how did you assess whether or not it was a compatible experience for the both of you?
Yeah, great question. She kind of found me. It's kind of like destiny. A recruiter reached out to me right when I left my prior job. And as we talked about, people say that they left their job. It really means they got fired. I got fired from my job. I left.
Clarity.
I
left. You left with your box in a tub.
I love saying that to people. Like, oh, man, things didn't work out, so I got out of there.
I got out of there because they told me to get the fuck out.
They told me to get out of there.
Okay, got it.
Today's your last day.
That was the best thing they ever did for me. Like, it's funny how it all comes together. You hear people say that all the time. Somebody's hearing me say that right now.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? I don't want to get fired. That's not the best thing that can happen to me. I don't know. It really was. I had been toying with entrepreneurship for a long time, and I needed a kick in the ass to go do it. So anywho, I get fired. And Damon, my co-founder grabs me and says, hey, there's this homage idea I want you to look at. I want to, get some help. I say, okay, I'll help you out. And I'm got my one foot in that with him, and then the other foot is like talking to recruiters about different job opportunities. Long story long, recruiter takes a liking to me and says, hey, we're going to take a look at you for a role. But even if this role doesn't work out, I want you to meet my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law does it's kind of a therapist, but really like an energy consultant. She's going to consult on whether or not your energy is right. So talk to her for a free chat, and if you like each other, then I'm gonna pay for your first like 3 months with her.
Wow.
I'm like, this is the craziest lead generation shit I've ever seen. Like, bro, like I'm thinking she wants me to meet her sister-in-law, and then like tell me she's paying for it, and then ultimately I start paying for it, and now I've been scammed, right? No, it was weekly calls. I'm taking an hour, 2 hours of her time every week. This was really like a $3,000 expense that was paid for on my behalf, and it transformed my life last year, and now I pay for it.
Wow.
All phone calls. This is like a older Indian woman in Austin, Texas, that just helps me think about how my energy and whether or not my energy is helpful for manifestation. So yeah, it's great, and I would recommend her to anybody. And I would recommend, if you can't find a therapist that's in your city and affordable, then like look at some over the phone stuff. Look at just get some of the stuff in your head out. And yeah, you'll walk away from the conversation. At minimum, the next 2 hours after the conversation will be the most blissful 2 hours of your week. And then maybe the day after or the day after that, you'll start to forget some of the stuff you talked about. But no worry, a week later, you'll be on the phone again. So, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but,
No, that was helpful.
Yeah, it's been huge. It's been huge. And you've had experiences here. I mean, I know you went through life coaching and it's been transformative for you. So is there a similar, I haven't had life coaching, I've had energy training, but is it a similar experience when you get your life coached and you get helped in that way?
Our previous guest, Adirni Pashakun, was my life coach, and who we all know. And transformative, for lack of better wording, yes. I think the biggest thing is they just make and similar to her episode when she was here, you just make everything, it's all in your court. You're just like, you know what, I'm not actually waiting for anyone or anything. This is all things that I actually have to do. These are all questions that I actually need to answer. And so I think she helped me a lot, organize my thoughts and empower me to realize that this is what I'm really thinking, and this is what I've been avoiding thinking, and this is what I've been avoiding doing, and so why is that? And filling in those gaps. It's like seeing my gaps and then presenting them back to me, and then asking me, do you still want to have these gaps, or did you want to fill that in?
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend anyone just to talk to people. Even if you can't afford friends or therapy, if you are sitting with your friends for 40 minutes, and at no point do you have a real conversation about how you are doing in life, like emotionally, your friends aren't shit.
That's facts.
Your friends are trash.
That's facts.
And you have trash friends and you need to reassess. Right. If you're not doing it with your family, if you're not doing it where you practice your spirituality, like your life is going to be trash and you will suffer from that. You have to figure out who to talk to, because it can't just be yourself.
Yeah.
It's not just you.
Yeah.
You have to have another wall to bounce that off of.
I mean, I can go on and on about why that's like a serious problem, particularly for Black men that don't quite get together for brunch and talk to each other. Mm-hmm. I've always been jealous of my sisters for just being able to get together and share. I've always been jealous of y'all, but
a bunch of Black men were at brunch, all conjoined together, talking about their emotions. I'd be at their next table, sending mimosas to them niggas. Just,
all right, drink all the mimosas.
Start crying over the mimosas.
Get them niggas drunk.
Get them niggas drunk and take them home.
Holy shit, that is so funny.
Take one home with you.
Maybe. What was the next thing you brought? On that note, what was the next thing you brought?
We should do that at the hotel. Like all right, look, here's the offer right now. If a group of 4 or more Black men show up on Sunday for brunch, mimosas on us as long as y'all are pouring it out,
Pouring it out.
Wear some brunch boots, put a hat on as well. We want
some brunch boots.
Boots. Marcus has these motherfucking brunch boots.
I got brunch boots.
Like, where are you going?
You gotta look.
Brunch.
I gotta be able to know that you get the deal. So wear the brunch boots so I know that you're part of it. Put a blouse on. But come in and just feel,
2019. This is happening.
A blouse, though.
All right, so I brought this to, again, millennial that doesn't.
Brought your whole room.
I brought my room.
Okay. He got all his room and decoration.
Fine. This is important. It's just like 3 pictures.
Okay.
But this is my nephew up top. It's my only nephew. My older sister. I've got one sister. She had him. His name is Logan Hayes. He lives in Detroit. He's 3 years old now. So that picture is from 3 years ago. This bottom picture here is a fraternity, Knights Fraternity Incorporated. It's only at Howard where I went to school, and those are my brothers there. And then the one in the middle is this guy's wedding. This guy's name is Chris Munn. He's my business partner in a different business. We bought an apartment building in Michigan, Chris and I together. And that's at his wedding a few years ago, surrounded by some of the mentors, the older friends, the guys that are 4 or 5 years older than me, but welcome me into their circle. The reason why these three pictures go together is they represent important periods of my life. They represent sort of before Howard, during Howard, and after Howard. Sort of three phases: before Howard, during Howard, after Howard. Before Howard, all these older guys inspired me to go there in the first place. These, again, 5 years older than me. So when I'm thinking about college or when to go, they invited me to come out to campus, hang out with them. They welcome me even though I'm younger, they welcome me as like a brother of theirs and showed me around. And I said, I want to be like them. I'm going to Howard. It changed my life to decide to go to Howard, really seriously. And of course, during Howard is a fraternity thing. It's not a typical kind of fraternity. We're not stepping or doing like too much asshole kind of stuff. I mean, we do a little bit of douchery, but not too much of it. But the fraternity is founded by like 10 gentlemen from the continent, like came from West Africa to go to college at Howard. Started the fraternity in 2005. I joined in 2010. And it's just inspired by African culture. And so, a lot of my brothers are from the continent originally, and then some of us, like myself, are not, but we just have a different kind of respect for the diaspora. And so that's just been incredibly, like any people of color out there that aren't quite in tune with what's going on in like West Africa, Sub-Saharan, South Africa, like East Africa, try to tune in because it's lit. It's beautiful. It's, to go to a place. My first time ever leaving the United States was to go to Ghana in 2010. I spent 2 weeks in Ghana. It was the first time ever leaving the United States. To go to a place where every single thing is run by a person of color, like the store and then the government, was crazy. Like, it was crazy, like the bus is driven by somebody of color. And in that big palace, like somebody like of color lives in there too. So, that's the kind of inspiration that I needed. And that's what the frat helped introduce me to. And then after Howard, my nephew was born shortly thereafter. And so when I needed the inspiration on this journey and to keep going, when I get fired, stuff like that, like I'm doing this kind of for him. I don't have a child of my own. So I kind of co-opt my sister's child. It's the easiest way to have a child in your life is to just be an uncle.
Yes. Yeah.
No real responsibility. Yeah, it's just
get him, give him back.
Get him, give him back. I haven't bought not one diaper for the kid, but love him to death. Let me tell you,
not a near one.
Not a near one.
I think what's interesting, a critique I used to always hear about historically Black universities and just predominantly Black spaces is that, well, that's not really a depiction of the world because, there are places where there's just Black people. And in my older age, I'm just like, there's a whole ass continent with predominantly Black people. So it's always so in with you crafting Homage in the idea that, all people will be invited and welcome and will want to come, but it is a Black space. It's so interesting. People always push back on the idea of predominantly Black movies, spaces, that it's not universal. And it's like, but, we are universal people. Black people are literally everywhere.
Right.
It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that's facts,
What did you enjoy most about going to Howard and being in a predominantly Black space?
The diversity that people said didn't exist. Like people from everywhere. I didn't have like a beef patty before I went to Howard. I never tasted a beef patty.
Life was changed when you did.
Life changed when you have a beef patty. Damn, some cocoa bread. It's crazy. So the diversity of all of that is huge. The empowerment of that space, to have some Black skin, but folks to tell you like, hey, you can do anything. All of that stuff is huge for me. So, I don't too much get engaged with like the PWI versus HBCU debate. I understand both sides of it. Frankly, I think a lot of folks from HBCUs or from Howard or anywhere else, we sort of day one of that experience, we're like throwing it in people's faces. And I try not to be a part of that, but I probably was a part of it. You know, anybody that didn't go to Howard was like, "You're missing out." You know, like, hey, relax. Like, it's kind of boring here too. Like,
we're still going to school.
We're still going to school. You know,
Right.
This is, you know, we're all broke here too. Like, and so I thought there was just a lot of gloating associated with our culture that we didn't really need to do, and so that pushed people away, and it drew divisions between the two spaces. I understand why that gloating exists. Also, that people are incredibly proud to be there and have made that decision, you know, in their life to go to HBCU. So I understand why the gloating is there, but we could have done, and we could continue to do a better job at bringing it down a level and telling everybody that's not there, like, hey, it's fun, but it's also, you know, here's what's wrong with it. You know, we're trying to figure it out just like you are. But yeah, you know, I enjoyed the diversity. I enjoyed the empowerment and the opportunities and all of that. It was huge for me. Changed my life.
I'm trying to learn more.
That's facts. We about to take this to a whole new level. It's a look with .us. You hear me?
.us.
.us. .us. .us.
All us.
So we've talked about this before. I love what you said previously, which was, you've seen the 1%. They're not better than us. They're not smarter than us. They're not more educated than us. They're not even nicer people. Mm-mm. They don't have better shoes than us. No, they might, depending on. But in actuality, we could also be the 1%. We could also be people with incredible amounts of wealth and access to wealth and these things. And so in dealing with your previous job, which is venture capitalism,
yeah,
and now securing the bags to finance these hotel properties, I don't even know how to begin to get in contact with people with lots of money, what I would even say to them. Hi, give me the bag. I feel like that probably wouldn't work. So,
toss me the bag.
With you being the bulldog that you are, securing the bag.
I said pit bull.
What is it? Pit bull, bulldog?
Yeah.
You want to be German Shepherd, whatever you want to be, right? Like whatever you want to be. Like
Rottweiler.
So yeah, what would be your tips on securing the bag on other people's money? I know it's a broad question, but I'm gonna start there.
It's such an important question, yo. I mean, it's because I've worked in those spaces. I worked on the other side of the table that I know capital is just a tool. Capital is just a tool to help. Like if you use it the right way, you might mess up when you use it. That's just the way capital works. You might get into a capital contract that ain't quite the best contract, and then before you know it, your business got snatched from you just because you didn't execute. People didn't buy your thing. You ran out of money. You owe people money. Whatever. But nonetheless, it's a tool to grow your thing. And I'm hard pressed to find a long list of people that owned 100% of their thing when they got to an incredible outcome, like a exit, sold their business, became rich from it, that kind of thing. Let's be, we're in this business thing to kind of take care of ourselves and our families long term. So when you don't own 100% of your thing, then you probably use capital as a tool. And I just think for our community especially, we got to sort of change the narrative and open up to those tools being able to we can harness those tools, work with them, and let it launch us. But in order to find those tools, in order to find the rich people and all of that, it certainly starts with like your personal network. For us, it didn't start with family and friends. People always talk about family and friends helping you out. Day one, there were no family and friends for us. Like everybody's just check to check, figuring it out. So no one we could go to really get $1 day one. But there were like the former bosses or former colleagues at work or some degree of mentors, like that, the people that fall outside of that initial sphere of family and friends. Those folks certainly were willing to hear us out and then make an introduction to somebody else and and then before you knew it, somebody's like, okay, I'll buy 5% of your thing for this amount of money. And yeah, you take those checks. I mean, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, like that kind of stuff helps you pay yourself, pay for things, get stuff going. And then you got a partner long-term in the journey. They just own a piece of your business and kind of are there to help you long-term. So it was huge for us, and I think it can be huge for all of the Black creatives out there to have amazing ideas, to start to be thoughtful about how to fund those ideas, get them out in the world.
So for those of us who don't have a finance background, I think the place that we always think to start is a budget. But is that the place to start? Do I need to just start by documenting what I'm spending now? Like how do you switch to that growth mindset and saying, this is what I will need and this is how I will use it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Use of funds, it's about like reaching for the stars and what you want. Like, what do you want, for Street Salad or for It's a Look? Like, what do you want the next 2 years to look like? What kind of milestones do you want to hit over the next 2 or 3 year period? Once you figure out the milestones, like there's how many eyeballs I want to reach, or how many experiences I want to have. What's the cost of each one of those? Put a 20%, 30% buffer on all of those milestones, and then go out and tell people like, this is how much I need. And that's it. Like, you take that money and you pay for your things. You got your buffer. You pay yourself. Like, you pay off your debt. Like, you might have like a little bit of debt and you try to work on something, pay it off so you can be like free to do your thing. Like, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a form of privilege that we can access.
And I think it's also like writing down that number, right? Like establishing a number, not saying like I need money, but saying like I need $100,000. That makes it so much more real than just saying I need money, because you have no idea how much you need or what you're going to do with it. And then know where to look for it or know where to reach, right? Because you don't know what you're reaching for. You're just like reaching. And there might be some money right over here if you knew how much you were actually looking for.
100%. Well, you know exactly how much you're looking for to point you right in the like, okay, who can stomach this amount?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, how many creatives do we know collectively that don't know that thing that they're working on is probably worth like a couple $1 million?
Talk about it.
Like it's worth just idea stage is worth $2 million.
How did you all figure out that this idea was worth money?
Talking to rich people, and they were like, hey, I want a piece of it. That's huge. And I know Damon somewhere shaking his head if he hears that, because for him, it's like he knew this was worth money when he came up with it. Like, he knew, he didn't need to talk to rich people. For me, I'm like a little strategist. I'm like, how do I, so I'm like, oh, the rich people, what I'm saying? But Damon, day one, he knew like, nah, this is it. So yeah, it starts with the confidence. Day one of your thing, that what you got is a thing. And then it's going to help when people validate it. People validate that can write you checks. People validate it that want to be a customer. You do some pre-sales and they sell out. Like, all that type of stuff is validation. And then, it tends to lend itself to being like a day one, $2 million opportunity. And then it just scales from there. And so, yeah, we're inspired by like, you name it startup, you name it founder, particularly Black founders that have grown big businesses, raised tons of money, changed their life and their family's life. Some of them are very close friends of mine, and we see that, and we sort of pace ourselves to, okay, this is the route here, so you can talk to here, okay, and we're just learning it as we go, because they're figuring it out as they go too. You see a press release, you see somebody in like Black Enterprise or something, those people are still figuring it out, and so are we. So yeah,
what's the thing that you're figuring out right now? What's the current, maybe you don't have to be as detailed on the pain point, but just in entrepreneurship, something that you're struggling with that you think would be valuable for someone else to hear?
Yeah. This project is for the culture. Homage is for the culture, for the people. And when you're working on something that's truly authentic to you, truly for the people, where you're from, like we want to inspire people to look like us, that type of thing. We're currently met with do we continue the sort of creative project approach of this thing, the heart space approach, or do we turn to a capital driven approach where we're like, all right, let's launch in like 10 cities in the next 3 years?
Oh, so like the mom and pop versus like the
Yeah. Like, do you spend time curating this special thing, or do you take? And those people have come to us talking about, hey, let's go.
let's get a homage in every city.
Yeah, let's go. And we're like, oh wow, for real, you know.
Yeah.
So, really tough, and continue to figure that out. And yeah, if anybody's got advice for me on that, reach out and share that advice with me. But that's tough. That's a tough one, because you've seen success happen on both sides of that. You've seen folks pick either side of that fork in the road and be successful.
I mean, well, when you scale, right, you can have more impact, right? So McDonald's can have huge McDonald's charities and McDonald's All-American games, right? But then it's like, but there's a McDonald's everywhere, and then it's not always as personal. But then if you look at like your local mom and pop, yeah, the people who work there are really taken care of, and the people who eat there, what about the people who can't ever make it?
Totally. Yeah, it's a weird conundrum, really difficult to figure out.
Yeah.
Because we've been operating from that heart space since we started it, but as momentum comes, so the opportunity to go and do a bunch at the same time.
So you said that this was for the culture and for the people, and I think one thing I've personally struggled with is when I'm creating something for the people, how much does it cost, and how much do I expect the people to pay, and then that barrier to who can get in and who can't.
Yeah.
So how are you all addressing that with your hotel? What price point are you looking at currently? Yeah. Who's it for when we're talking money?
Yeah. All kinds of different price points. It sort of depends on the market and what that particular local market can charge on an overnight stay. But when we talk about spaces being dynamic and our people being dynamic, we want the hotel to reflect that. So we've already thought through what a hotel plus hostel concept in the same building looks like, so that the Black creative nomad that's a bit of a backpacker can find a bunk bed in our space. But then also like the business traveler that wants their own space to just sort of stretch out, they can do that. And yeah, we want to find ourselves at like market rate for the best lifestyle hotel, boutique hotel experiences around the country. Those are like a $200 a night, $250 a night experience for those standard rooms. But then we continue to be thoughtful about sort of how to go down the scale and get folks inside of our property at a lower price point for whatever kind of experience. If it's an overnight stay or if it's just like a cup of coffee, we continue to be thoughtful about that. And one of our mantras is like making sure that we hire our neighbors. So every city we're going in is we're not like looking to hire transplants and gentrifiers to be staff members at our properties. We want the folks that have been around it, the folks that have been committed to the neighborhood for decades. That's who we want running places, and that's a way to bring different socioeconomic backgrounds into the property and to reap the benefits of it. So yeah, continue to try to figure that out. But we're looking to be a beautiful experience for people and get paid as consistent with that kind of experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
You had previously mentioned that during your entrepreneurship journey, what did you learn that I love that you said? You said that you learned that getting fired from your job was the best thing that happened to you.
Yeah.
What are 3 tips, or Frida's leaving her job soon. What are some tips or takeaways that you can offer to people who are thinking about making that transition or making that transition currently? Even in taking the turn towards entrepreneurship.
Yeah. I'm not an entrepreneurship loyalist. I don't believe that this is for everybody.
I concur.
Why don't enough people say that shit? Like, why don't
enough people don't say that shit?
People are always like, this is the best thing ever.
No.
Like, don't shut up.
Everybody doesn't have to do their own thing.
No, not at all.
Everyone cannot do their own thing, because if I got my thing, I'm gonna need somebody to help me.
Help!
Hey,
we can't all be entrepreneurs.
Can I get them wage earners out here? Let's go,
somebody
baby.
to be on this team. Okay, so that's one we all are saying. Okay.
I am not a loyalist, yo. I mean, it used to give me so much anxiety when I was in job. Like I'm in a job and somebody's out there like, oh, you're missing out on the biggest thing ever. I'm like, what the fuck? What are they doing? What did they figure out? So I don't want to sound. I don't want to be a part of that. That narrative out there. I think it's a personal journey. You got to kind of feel it out, figure it out for yourself. And if you decide that it's for you, jump, leap. Like it's like there's land. Yeah, there's land over here. There's an ocean in the middle of it, and there apparently is land on the other side of the ocean.
Said to be.
There's said to be. I don't really know what's over there. I'm still in choppy water.
Still looking at the water.
Yeah. But you got to be in the water. You got to go get in the fucking water and like see what's over there.
Sink or swim.
Sink or swim, jump. Yes, jump. You don't know everything. You don't know what you're doing. We're all figuring it out. If they're on an article about some business, money, whatever type of stuff, they are still figuring it out.
Yes.
So believe in your ability to figure it out.
Yes.
Is my super big key. What's your sort of second? What's your big key?
Budding entrepreneurs who are actually made for it.
Look, you got a big business. You got a thing. It's a look is a real thing, right? Mm-hmm. You're hosting a comedian business or endeavor is a big deal. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're the next Fredia, right? Mm-hmm. So what's with these kind of things that you're still figuring out, but like, look at this shit. I mean, like, look at the background of this. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think I'm really strong at identifying what I'm not good at. I try to focus on what I'm actually really strong at, and then where I'm not strong, I find someone who is. And then where I'm strongest, but maybe it's not what I want to do, I'll find someone who's even better at that task than me. So I think the advice that I would give is, know your strengths and your weaknesses. Be openly communicative about them. We had to write something today, like from the both of us, Jena and I. I was like, Jena, I'm not writing this shit. I have terrible handwriting. You write it. Let's write it. We can co-write it together, but I'm not writing it. Yeah. And I like to leave space for me to do the things that are going to make me feel valuable to the group that I'm in or make me feel valuable to myself. So that's something that I think a lot of people need to work on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Knowing your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah.
It's so important to working with a team of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, if there is one thing that I've learned, especially recently in testing the expansion of street salad and expanding outside of one person, you really have to, if you found the right people that you jive with energetically, then you have to empower them to do whatever they think the thing is with your brand, right? And allow and sit back and watch, because that is the communication, that is the expansion, that is what it is at its root. Outside of what you can do for it, outside of the passion and energy you give to it because you birthed it, to see someone else do it and put their own passion and energy into it and make it their thing, like that is what you want at its root. And so that's how you figure out how to multiply and to get more people involved in the movement. So make room for other people, even though it feels very uncomfortable.
It's so hard. Oh, so
you're just like, is this person going to come through? Are they going to do it? Is it going to look good? Is it going to feel right? Who's going to come? You have so many questions. Like, rather than asking all those questions and answering yourself, just allow time, allow the narrative, allow the test to produce those answers.
Yep.
And then innovate and iterate from there.
Yeah, these things will take on a life of their own. And every person involved with it will take on a journey of their own, and allowing it to do that is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna fuck some shit up. You're gonna ruin some shit. It's gonna be awful.
Facts.
Don't punish yourself for that. Just pivot. Okay, you made the wrong step. It's like in basketball, right? If you make the wrong step, defender comes up to you. You don't just drop the ball. You don't just go, oh, well, never mind. I'm just not going to take the shot. No, pivot. Move in a new direction. Euro step around that bitch. Whatever you got to do.
Euro step.
Get over them. Everything. Like something is going to come up in front of you. This journey is not, you are You're swimming and there's a shark next to you, like it's about to come and get you. You better side swim. You better go and get somewhere and find something else. I'm serious. People punish themselves so much, and it's like I give myself 5 minutes to talk shit about myself. You get 5 minutes. You'd be like, all right. I set the timer. I'm like, okay, well, that was terrible. And you shouldn't have said that. And you were being your lesser self. And I hope they want to talk to you again because you were really acting up. And then after that 5 minutes, I go, okay, you're not that person anymore. So who do you want to be? Yeah. Because if you are out here punishing yourself, you will never make it as an entrepreneur.
Look, you mentioned swimming. I just learned this from a friend of mine, Deshaun Myra, who runs Maven. That this journey, especially in the earliest days, you're swimming in this ocean, and you might think you're moving. You're not really moving that much, but you're swimming. You know, moving my arms, trying to swim. This will totally be about waves coming to you that push you closer to that land on the other side. And those waves come from people involved in love and relationships, involved in your journey, invested in you, that care about you. That at the right time, at the right moment, kind of send that intro email, introduce you to somebody, get you the plug, whatever. Everybody on the entrepreneurship journey, everybody talks about this, like the moments. It ain't even this moment. It's a collection of moments, and it'll give you life. And you might go 2 weeks without one, 2-3 weeks, and be shitty. And be like, damn, am I moving? You know, like, tired as hell. I'm tired. I'm tired, fam.
I need a rest.
What the fuck? Am I against the tide? Am I swimming with the tide or against the tide?
I just must not be swimming at all.
Man, and then when you get that joke, if you believe in higher power like me, if you know, whatever you believe in, like when you get that joke, you get that wave and you feel it, that is evidence that you're doing it. Like, this is a valuable journey. Keep going. So when the email come through, just go like, oh, and then just chill for a second. Just like just breathe on that. What I'm a victim of, I'll get the wave, I'll get the moment, and I'm like, shit, where the other moment at? I'm like a junkie for it, you know, like, shit, let's get another one. You know, sometimes you just gotta chill and be like, okay, say thanks and see when the next one comes.
And they'll come.
Yeah.
All of this, what we just talked about, is just trust. Trust yourself. Because if you don't trust yourself, no one's going to give you any money. You can't pitch to someone, yeah, I kind of think this is a good idea. Nigga, get the fuck off my table. You're going to get some cash from me. You don't know what you're talking about.
But isn't that fundamentally, like, at odds with Black identity? Isn't the idea that you're confident and you sell your thing? Isn't, like... That's what I struggled with day one. It was like, don't I have to be authentic and tell the truth? And so if somebody asks me what I'm working on and why is it important, I'm like, it's just a slow thing. You know, I'm just being honest. But in this world, it is like a confidence finesse game.
Swagger.
It's totally finesse.
Yeah.
And swagger. Like,
my thing is, if you're asking me something, I'm going to tell you I'm the answer.
Yeah.
I'm not good. What?
Yeah.
You're asking me. You came to me. You're here. You agreed to do this meeting. You see something, I see something. The answer. I'm the answer.
Yeah.
That Black people are very, especially in this country, is a lot of Black women, you know, oh, she's very opinionated, or she is, I don't know, what do they be saying to me? They just say something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's okay to be confident. It's okay to wake up and really be like, I am amazing. Yes. Sometimes someone asked me recently at work, like, how did you do that? I was like, I'm magical. Have you never heard of Black Girl Magic? Look it up. It's a whole hashtag. She was like, are you serious? I was like, yes. I'm literally walking magic. People need to know that.
Yeah, that's facts. That's super facts.
About themselves, not about me. They'll know. They'll figure it out about me, but also know it about yourself. You're magic. This hotel's about to be magic. All of them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're doing this at a time where, like, the president of the United States, the only reason why he's president, the only reason why anybody knows his name is because he opened up hotels. But when he did it, he was being like a con man, or AKA a confidence man. But he was doing it in an authentic way. He was like literally going around lying to people. We're excited to be opening up hotels with confidence, buoying. We've got confidence at our foundation. But authenticity at, you know, sort of at the surface, at the core. We're going to be honest about the entire journey. You know, you you want to know how much money is in our business right now, you can ask me. I'll tell you. But but yeah, like, you know, it's incredibly special to just do this in a time where somebody like that did it his way. We're gonna do it our way. We're gonna do it our authentic way.
So we mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, the thing that we're looking forward to is the Moor. So where is that opening up? When is it opening up? And then how else can we keep up with hospitality and Homage you?
So yeah, the Moor is first weekend in July, Essence Festival weekend. Folks will be staying with us in New Orleans.
Are you taking bookings?
Yeah, we're taking bookings online right now. Stayhomage.com, www.stayhomage.com. It's like pay homage. It's stayhomage.com, and you'll see an opportunity to book there. And then the second property in New Orleans, the Freeman in the Treme neighborhood, will open up a couple months from now. But we'll do something special at the Freeman around Essence Festival weekend to allow people an opportunity to come and vibe and chill, meet good people during that kind of weekend, which is important for Black culture. So if you all are in town, please let me know. I don't quite know if you guys are coming, but if you are, we got space for you. And yeah, just kind of, Instagram is, Stay Homage, and follow the journey and new property announcements in Oakland and Detroit and a number of other places. And yeah, we're going to kind of take this thing to the moon if we can.
Shit, it might be a homage on the moon.
Might be a motherfucking homage on the moon. Yeah.
2030, Homage on the Moon.
We're manifesting things. He told us that before we started.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you.
I appreciate it. I'm super proud of you both. I mean, I love the both of you. So yeah, man, it's a look with .us, you hear me? And streetsalad.co. That's where we at.
Shout out!
Yeah.
Shout out!
Mark has been a real one since we met. And that, my friends, is another episode of It's a Look. It's a wrap.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay!
Did we do that? Did we do okay?
Yeah,
We do okay?
yeah.
Oh,
You did great. You did great.